the section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages was on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought it there. So,
would you play that shit? I'm telling y'all, I know I'm with the lawyer, so don't ask me. I know y'all are Moors, just ask General Khalid. The General, nah, I'm a Moor. They got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor. The General said he's a Moor, MVP, your greed for his main fame got me strong drunk. You never pull the trigger, just pose with the shotgun pump. I'm wicked and hating, showing no love, but you're showing vacant licenses for ID at the police station. On top of that, no rights reserved on the contract. Dirty Moors finesse masters use old leaders to concats. Show their picture but won't use their best coats. Only use the ones to bring in fiat notes from scapegoats who wanted to raise whites. Even wore a fez at their wedding. I snicker at Snicks and all black organizations begging. Walking with limbs peg-legging. These conscious pirates. Fake freedom warners get no ratings when I'm irate. Conscious. God never sat down with Taj Bay one-on-one. Yet he is my target, Amin Day is my gun. All I do is crush a lot true. My big pun and Fat Joe. Falling on you 50 feet below. Mike Fatso. Mark conscious cool frauds up with my firing squad. Fucking out emotions hard like food and pulling a squad. Larry's no professor. Show me some doctorate degree, son. We'll listen to I'm African crap until I see one. I'm not asking for much, cause I give more than I ask for. Moorish MC, lay it down, not like asphalt. I won't fool though, some call me fool though. Trying to get under my skin, you must be a new bro. Old foe gets full slow, lash with the tongue strap. Conscious schools wanna be Gay-Z and make a comeback. Not on my watch, slow till time stops. Left and shot cause the rhyme doc. Open up your mind block. Conscious. Malicious. We have them there. Now, these are church documents. But remember, when it became a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain, the Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. From 711 until 1485, 774 years, when we built and brought into Europe the university system, building the University of Salamanca, S-A-L-A-M-A-N-C-A in Spain, a copy of the university.
Read RVBey every day. Uplifting because we are based. We enforce the law and we obey. Our fathers from before until today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in Moorish. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules on first. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7 first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. Declare 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed because I've seen the proof. No, but true. Hey, you have to try it out for you. Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Cherry's the root. Standing on my spirit, even without shoes. On the high authority, spirit of blue. Market coffee, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
stop asking that question. I ask myself this question. If not me, then who?
Destined wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, all making features. Secrets of the afterlife manifest the present day. Dirty mortal scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts. Keep the awareness on point. Spirit messages never off. Inner realization encounters a higher self. Explain existence, explain my consistence. Without a foe, you never know, so fast most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress. Metaphysics, Kabbalistic, Amarak mystic. Patriarch, statistic, make my thoughts sadistic. So indigenous, call me Americanistic. Invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic. Suns on rotation, flows eclectic. Shatter all illusions, reveal the realistic. Sitting in the dark, holding the light marvelous. Recognize the artifice. Skin so carbonous, hair so antenna. I feel them from Vienna, myriad of virtues, lessons in reptilian henna. Enlightenment seekers won't find it in mainstream. Focus as a laser, stay balanced like a beam. Not even a gymnast. Whenever I flip this, as above, so below, get out when within this. Don't think I'm a slave cause I speak in English. True, I need the water, watch your flame get extinguished. Living in your higher, lower self is related.
You are now in the host queue.
Master teachers, call it distinguished.
Check. They say they want to learn. They only debate. Referencing the truth. Trust me. They only sound great. Any nationality before you question my estate. I'm not a minority. Why you so late? Majority rules. Here comes the test. That's my hand in the form of a beat on the chest. That's a boom that is blessed like a moon and a crest. Major forever, infinite mindset. Major for birth, that's a seed in process. I'm a more that is easy to digest. Competent, never terrorious. That is my last, never fake it. Secret traditions, petitions for what you're not Jamaican. No Esperanto, support for. Everybody needs more. If you bleed for, following the apostle we should be more. I see the unseen more before. More, Canaanland.
Classes are too long, don't want it on a phone call. Energy too strong, get it from the wrong source. Now they way off course. Think they must be Muslim and give up on all sorts. Should give up the red meat, must give up on all pork. Won't be yelling out when the bottles are uncorked. Eating with the spoon, use forks for tuning. Eating humble pie, no ego ballooning. Samson two caterpillars, got them cocooning as the full moon hung spiral. Energy moving up through the crown chakra. Energy shooting. I told me upload classes before live YouTube it. 16,000 subscribers, 20% consuming, 80% troll, pretending to be tuned in. Comment on every video, pushing the thumbs down. We'll push the link when we live, just like a clown. Pouring in the incompetence, always debating. This is who I leave, but won't give the location. His image on the black banner, that's a vacation. Just get him out of here, use it for your demonstration. We know they're playing games, we're not berating. Calling out, one shell of thoughts penetrating. In defense of prophets and mothers abused. And newly awakened Moors, amused and confused.
Peace and love, Moors. Peace and love to everybody listening and who will listen in the future. You are tuned into MHHS Eyes Wide Open, Sons of Allah. for September 2022. I am your host, Mizraim Aleph L, along with my brethren, the noble Cujo IOL. Peace, Moor.
Peace, peace, Islam, Moor. Peace to all the Moors.
Islam. Indeed. Acknowledgement to all the Moors tuned in, all the Moors in the chat who may have questions now or later. Definitely appreciate you all, man. I know we missed last month. It was meant to be like that, man. But man, I don't even know where to start because I want to say so much. But right before the show, in this broadcast tonight, I don't know if everybody is familiar with the brethren, but I just found out, it's been circulating for about a day now, that the brother RVBey passed away. For those who have, been to events and lectures in so-called New York and whatnot, they are more inclined to be a little bit more familiar with the brethren. I know the brother from the classes on 125th. Him and his counterpart at the time, Sister Majay. I know death is. I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but in a sense, yeah, because I know death is no enemy to man, according to these lessons, as well as that's basically what he called himself, the angel of death, Azaziel. So, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that brethren, because I actually met him in life. I can't say I know his whole story and everything like that, but from what I do know, he gave props when it was due. Whenever it was a great class, he would always say such, you know what I'm saying? He would never hesitate to give props, etc. So, acknowledgement to, what that brother has done. A lot of people in New York would say he was instrumental in promoting and, letting it be made known certain lectures were going on, even before my time, you know what I'm saying? I was born late 80s, you know what I'm saying? So there was stuff going on in the 90s I was not in attendance to. So, yeah, man, but acknowledgement to that, brethren. I have to start there because I just found out like 25 minutes before we came online, bro. And you may be familiar, you may have seen, DVDs and VHSs with the brother going in. I do recall it should be still circulating out there. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but him and his counterpart at the time, the Sister Majay, had invited my mother to do a lecture in Nicholas, Brooklyn. And that one was called Understanding. And I was there, and it actually was, interesting. It was an engaging way of learning, you know what I'm saying? They made it a little fun. People, I remember one of the lessons that he gave was he had, I guess it was more of a ritual, not to sound too far out there, but the lesson was like this. He had a bunch of balloons, and he gave purple balloons at that. And everybody in attendance had to write a word on the balloon that they wanted to let go of in their life. And we all did such and just let the balloons go, one by one. And it was really like a dope way of engaging a real class in real time. So certain things like that, you never forget people for, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to give an acknowledgement. I felt compelled because, that's one of the things I remember the brother for at that time. And them recognizing my mom too actually come give a class in Nicholas, Brooklyn. And just the journey, man, just, all of it, all of that is a part of it. So, yeah, I'll never forget. And another thing, at some point, I'm going to try to keep the language clean, but in contribution to him and his memory, if you hear me say, I don't know those niggas, I'm quoting him directly. You know what I'm saying? I never forget. All night.
hear me say that. It's an honor. You know what I'm saying? Because one time we walked in the class, we was a little late, and he was going in. He was hosting the class, and we walked in on key. And he was like, you know, people claiming they Africans and they got ancestors in Africa. He was like, I don't know them niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying we not brothers and sisters with those across the Great Atlantic, but I will forever, you know what I'm saying, remember that moment as something like really interesting. It was on point. It was on cue. And that's not to disassociate, but some of these people, I just don't know them.
Sure.
So I want to get into that too. I feel like, well, before I go on, I want to ask if there's anything you want to add on.
Peace more. Well, again, the same thing. You know, when it came to the metaphysical and occult lessons, you know, he's along the lines with Hemet, Phil Valentine, and all of them too. So definitely honors to the brother for all the work that he put in. And again, going back to what you were saying with him being the angel of death and really going in, you know, on the neglected occult sciences, you know, because him and Marjay, they were definitely on a different side, you know, when it came to the lessons. They were on the side of, you know, the darker side of the occult. And it's I remember even he was the one that brought out the Adanga man with the Africans that were selling their own into slavery, talking about not blaming the white man for all that stuff. Make sure you know that it was your own that was selling you out. I think it was one of those black guys had some DVD or something that they put out, and he was interviewed for it, talking about the Adanga man. He also got a clip on Iron Sheik 3 talking about the Mormons having the big golden statue of the Moor. So and he also dropped the Peter Moon. He actually introduced people to Peter Moon as well, being with Montauk Book of the Dead and all that there's this European talking so in favor of the Moors. So the Moor definitely put in his work. You know, I want to say honors to you, honors to everybody in the chat, honors to RVBey Publications, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, and everybody else out there who's putting in some work for the Moorish movement, for the Moorish nation. Make sure you get your flowers while you're still here, because we have this, you know, we have this thing of when people are gone, when we recognize them, you know. So honors to everybody who's here, and you already know, you know, we have our Ministry of Death chapter and all that. So we already know that he's got some greater work to do, and we're willing that he sends down the lightning bolts on all these traitors out here who deserve to get some, especially from the angel of death. So supreme honors to the great brother, now the ascended master, Azazel. Islam,
indeed. And on the note of these traders, man, it's crazy because I look back, and we were going to acknowledge this last month, and the way things turned out, we didn't do
Sons of Allah last month. But you know, there was some like disgusting, non-true rumors. My mother addressed it. Shout out to you and Yusuf for that session as well. You know, letting my mother go ahead on and speak her piece, and you know, about the false, you know, narrative of, you know, my mom being tied to some sister who chose to deal with some dude at the class. It definitely was not me. And you know, people, you know, it's a real talk, bro. I swear, man. Because I'm saying that because, you know, as her son, I'm looking at this like, how dare, you know, some chick in my age group act like they have a problem with my mother when this is not my ex. I never had no dealings with this chick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Who do she really think she is, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is totally out of order because not only did she come out like, and this is what I'm noticing, a pattern. Let me start here, right? I feel like people think that for them to have some sort of notoriety, they have to falsely accuse and associate RVBey publications with their life choices, right? Like, not too long ago, Ali Muhammad, Taharka Bey, Toronto Johnson, whatnot, you know, when the sister Corinne Gaines got killed, they blamed my mom, Taj, and Moorish, who was teaching free thought, right? Not for 1 second did they ever blame the police for pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know, blaming people, but then putting false blame on people is just like what, I don't know why this is a pattern, why they are trying to do this. It's not going to work, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, Sharice, you know, she chose to deal with whoever she chose to deal with. Nobody, you know what I'm saying, said, yo, hook up with this brother. Like, these women are making their own choices, and then at the end of the day, you know, having regrets. And then, like, trying to blame other people for that. Like, nah, you chose to lay down with whatever it is, whoever he was, right? That was your choice. That was a consensual thing. Y'all had a relationship that nobody at the class know about, right? Well, I can't say nobody. I know we didn't know, and honestly didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mother gave her the advice, look, you might, if you come in for this cause, don't even show up. You know what I'm saying? And she took it upon herself to do what she felt was real. You know, I don't know all the details. I just know my mother ain't got nothing to do with that shit. And at the end of the day, and I say this to my mom, and I've said this to my mom often, I'm like, Mom, like, I understand, you know, you people look to you for certain aspects of reference and help and guidance. But I'm like, Mom, I'm not even bringing you baby mama drama. Like, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? If people are having babies and their babies are being taken, like, yeah, you have information, but at the end of the day, am I selfish for thinking like that don't have nothing to do with my mom? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the mother of my children. That's not my baby moms. Like, they can't, like, why are they trying to drag you into their legal issues? Like, I hope I'm not being selfish seeing it like that. But that's how I see it. You know what I mean? Because that's my mom. I'm like, what is she stressing over somebody else's situation for? Like, I'm not bringing you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying. So for her to say that her gripe with my mother was the fact that for whatever reason, she you know, said, look, I don't have nothing to do with that because I told you from the jump, you might not want to make that choice, and left it alone at that because people are hard-headed. They don't listen. Like, you know, people don't believe shit stink till they smell it. So now, you know, people start smelling the shit like, oh, ain't nobody tell me wear a mask or whatever. And it's like, yo, you were forewarned. You didn't heed the warning. That ain't on nobody but you. Some people got to learn the hard way. So, you know what I mean? I'm just looking at it like that, bro. I don't really want to give her too much shine. I just feel like, you know, for people to, you know, run with a narrative that RVBey publications support so-called rapists or whatever, and that is not the case. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ill. I'm seeing this pattern of blame everything on RVBey publications. People are not being adults. People are not being responsible for their actions. People don't want the consequences of their own choices. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, if that's the case, that's the case. But don't blame my mom for that. You know what I'm saying? Because that blame is not due. It is not her just due. My mother is an elder. Ain't nobody 35 or whatever, you know what I'm saying, on no type of equivalence with my mother as a experienced liver, you know what I'm saying, with life experience altogether. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, my mother is, she's not old. I'm not calling my mom old, but she is older than 35. So for some chick to be 35 acting like, or whatever age she is, she got a gripe with my mother that she wants to air out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You're messy. You're super messy. And my family has nothing to do with your life in that regard. Also, I want to say, my mother never at the class told people to take dues, right? Everything was donation. You know what I'm saying? Never asked for dues. People could do what they want, but that was never the case. And I also wanted to say, the brother Hamatiel or Dave, that was our people's, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was our tech guy. So if my mother didn't answer the phone at 1 a.m., but you got him to look out and give you the cab money home, Cujo, that's like I'm trying to reach, you know, the Canaanland Moorish temple. I don't get you, but I get LL Raquel, and he's like, all right, here goes the finance for whatever you need. You need $100 to get home. I got you right here. Like, how could I then be mad at you? Like, your people still looked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same effect. So, you know, I don't get it, bro. Like, I feel like people feel like slandering RVBey publications is their way of come up. And it's not, because at the end of the day, people still got to deal with their own real life. So, you know, she was down bad. I'm saying this because she put this out there. I didn't put this out there. This is the shit she was talking about. She owes the state of Virginia $12,000 in unemployment and all of this. I don't like to get personal with people, but I could clearly see this this mentality of people being not having legitimate gripes, but maybe frustrated because, you know, being broke and owing money, that shit kind of gets you frustrated. Like, you wouldn't be in a good mood all the time if you're not right with yourself, right? Like, some people can stay balanced through times like that. Some people lose their mind in times like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just seeing a pattern of lack, because what did Noble Drew Ali say? A beggar people cannot obtain the highest spirituality within them. So, you know, having all of those types of debts and, you know, people call it assistance, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that right there is not really obtaining the highest levels of spirituality of yourself, according to Noble Drew Ali, not me. Not a beggar people or a beggar nation can't, according to his lessons. So I'm not saying anybody is above hard times or anything like that. But, you know, as long as you stay true to you, it'll all come back around. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that to say that, yo, listen, my mother is not a scapegoat or to blame for the choices that people make. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not. And that gotta stop, bro. That gotta stop, because it's ridiculous, you know? It's ridiculous. Like, you know, and then for her to expose, like, whoever this dude was that she had that experience with, you know, that's their business. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I think that's nasty to be attracted like that to her, but, you know, that's their business. So you can see when people are hurting and, like, what is it with, they're going to go on to tell all, and I was there, and, you know, you was there for a snapshot. Like, stop it. You know what I mean? So I don't want to drag this out. I'm not arguing with nobody on YouTube and you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, man, brothers and sisters, like really gotta like take responsibility for your own choices. Like, you know, man and woman up for the consequences of your actions.
That's the key.
At the end of the day,
that's the key. Take some responsibility.
You know
yeah.
Like,
straight.
Yeah. Like my mother has nothing to do with who anybody else is laying down with. You can't drag her into that. You know what I'm saying? That's not just. That's not true. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that she did with whoever she did up there in New York, whatever it was. But yeah, man, I just see it like people come around. That's why I don't trust people like that, bro.
Yeah,
I really don't. It's everybody think peace, love.
Sorry to cut you.
That's a whole nother thing. I don't trust a lot of people around me, bro.
Yeah, sorry
Especially
to cut you.
my family, bro, because this is the type of shit they do for notoriety and embarrass themselves doing it. And you know what I mean? Like, come on now.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah, I'm not into no YouTube wars, but to you know, put an accusation like that and an association like that on my mom, like that's foul. Or anybody who doesn't have anything to do with your choices.
No, but it's what you said though.
My mom, somebody else.
It's what you said. They're doing it. They're doing it for the come up. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we have Consulate tried to do it. Sharon and them tried to do it when the site was down and they tried to get all the people to go to them to do their paperwork through them. You know what I mean? Putting out fake pictures of people who look like Mother Roz and all that to say, oh, you know what I mean? Look what she's doing. How come you don't whatever? Reese doing it. Like you said, Taharka and all them when the Corin Gaines thing happened, you know, and those are the ones that we hear about. We don't know about the ones that, you know, people who are side dissing. You know what I mean? You know, we get people all the time. We get emails all the time. Oh, well, you know, why is my paperwork taking so long? And why didn't I get my stuff yet? And why didn't I whatever? And I've been waiting for a year and all this. Should we be going through them if the stuff's taking so long or whatever? And you can't have individuals who will say instead of life, they put their time on the line, right? They could be doing whatever with their life. They put their time on the line, dedicating hours a week for people to get this information. You know what I'm saying? And for you to have an issue when you haven't even put 1 hour in, you haven't even put 30 minutes in, and you got issues with people, shut the hell up. You know, like we said, others to Azazel. We don't know these niggas. We don't know who these people are. All we know, like we say on numerous occasions, all we know is more Avengers when it comes to learning this info. We don't know these people who just came yesterday. We only know the people who've been on VHS and who've been on DVD. We only know the people who you could go to their lecture and listen to them give their discourse. These pop-up people, these dirt on the head mole people, we all know them. And they're not getting the honors that the master teachers get. They're not getting the respect the master teachers get. They're not getting the attention the master teachers get. And they're mad. And instead of them going and getting themselves right, because we already know for you to talk crazy about, you know, the master teachers, you have mental issues. You have serious mental issues for you to have anything to say about the master teachers. Shouldn't have anything to say whatsoever. There should be button lips when it comes to certain people. Should be nothing to say. But these toxic people have the most to say all the time. It's a theme, and we're going back. We're going back. People talking crazy about Dr. Aleem. People talking crazy about Asir. People talking crazy about Moorish paradigm, because they're tying that Hakim Bey to some pedophile that called herself Hakim Bey to hide their pedophilia. It's a repetitive thing that goes on with people who want to come up, people who want to, we say the look at me people. You know, they wanna let off fireworks and all that stuff so people could see them when they're not important. How about go take care of your children or something? How about go write a book or something? How about put some attention where it's needed, opposed to just wanting attention? But we, you know, over the years, we've been privy to getting contacts from people, just because, you know, we have open line of communication. You could reach out to Canaanland Moors and you're gonna get a response. And the overwhelming support that the few faithful Moors give to all the different master teachers, you know what I mean? Like overwhelming support. People who we don't know from anything, just sending an email to say, you know what, thanks for putting out that website, RVBey Publications. You know, thanks for putting me on to, you know, Moorish Paradigm books. I got all those books and it changed my life. You know, thanks for sending me to, you know, Brother Asir, because, you know, I go to his classes and they're very informative and whatever. For people to have some BS to say, these people need to walk the plank or something like that. They need to ride the mare of steel. They really shouldn't be around, for real, because they're just causing a disservice. They're just, you know, there's no disunity. You know what I mean? You know, I don't think they're stopping anything as far as the Moorish movement. You know, they're not stopping anything, but like COINTELPRO and CIA, FBI, CSIS, and whoever else, they slow this thing down a little bit, because people get distracted into the drama opposed to the learning that they're supposed to get. You know, even with the thing that you were saying with Reese, right? Like I got one of those calls at 1 a.m. crying and all this, and what are the Moors gonna do about this? What do you mean, what are the Moors gonna do? How about if he did something like that? How about you go call the highwayman and tell them come get their nigger? If it's like that, like how you calling all these Moors and you ain't called the highwayman on this criminal who allegedly did some criminal stuff to you? They're no different than the people who get the 5,000 taken from them, 20,000 taken from them, and then they're calling Kudrow about, well, what are you gonna do about this? What do you mean, what am I gonna do about this? If a guy in the street came and put a gun in your face and emptied your pockets, you're not calling me about something. Why don't you call who you're supposed to call and have them go get their nigger? Don't be calling Moors, because majority of Moors would have told you, go study. How the hell you at somebody's house 1 a.m. talking about they're violating you or whatever like that? Shouldn't you be studying or sleeping or something like that? Where you going? Where the hell you going? That you're caught up in something crazy.
And Kudrow, I gotta highlight this part too, and this is no disrespect, but it's because of what has been attested to that it didn't happen that way. I would say that it's damn, I don't even want to call her a sister, and that's sad. But it's women like that who are the reason that a lot of women don't get taken seriously when something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we're just saying that, but for the reason that she said she had a discrepancy with my mother. Again, remember, this is not my ex. This is not my girl. This is not my baby. She's dealing with somebody totally different, but mad at my mom because she didn't answer the phone at 1 a.m. But the good brother Hamatiel did. That's our people's. And he looked out for you. So your discrepancy with her or anybody that has nothing to do with your situation, this is why people don't take it serious enough. Because, and I'm not saying there's not real victims in the world and whatnot, but as far as her and my mother is concerned, and she's not. She don't have a legitimate aspect to have a gripe with my mother because of who she decided to deal with. That's her choice. And again, I'm not victim blaming, but from my understanding, she is not a victim. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's sad because for the credibility, it's like I have to associate with this person or these people and then disrespect them to get credibility. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I was there, and I remember this, that, and the third, and then turn around and disrespect, you know, the people that you are trying to substantiate your credibility off of. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like, do the work, let your work speak. You know what I mean? Where's your body of work in some form or another, whether it's writing, YouTube videos, blogs, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you know? Like, if it's in the community and you're dealing with your town or your tribe or where you grew up with and impacting that community, like, you know, like, where is that? Where's all of that at, right? So, there's nothing there but an association of, oh, I was, you know, in the class, so therefore I was there every step of the way, and this is how it was. You was a snapshot in the grand picture, like the bigger picture. And while you was there, you made choices that you regret that we didn't have nothing to do with. Bro, it was so many people that come through the class. You can't police everybody's private parts. You know what I'm saying? You can't police or try to control people hooking up. All you could do is what we were doing was dropping the science. This is the science. Yeah. Okay, in 6 months you will see it for what it is, because that's the polarity. 180, right? And in a year you'll know how that'll play out. You know, and it's in degrees. My mother covered this. 90 days you'll see something. Some sort, whatever the relationship is going to go for. Whatever direction is going to go for that time being. But 180 days or 6 months, no doubt you're going to see the opposite end. Or it's going to be some sort of result. And people weren't heating the science, bro. Some people weren't. They were just, you know, caught up in carnal things.
Oh, sorry.
You got carnal results.
Sorry to cut you. This one just came to my mind too. Just as you're speaking about the snapshot thing. There was also this this idea that she was a mufti. I don't know if you could talk about that too, because she was making it sound like she was a mufti for the classes or something like that, and that's how she knows. And she was on the road with Mother Raz, and you know, so she was in like that. You know what I mean? Going back to the thing about the whole come up thing. But yeah, because I know from my dealings, not even going to the classes, just listening to them. Everybody knows Minka's mufti. I don't know anybody else who was mufti other than him for all those years. Like, I don't know anybody else who had the role of mufti other than Brother Minka. So if you could also address that too, just again, because I wasn't there personally, but you know, things were said because, you know, one of the things that the detractors do is that because there's so many different platforms now, they go on these different platforms where they know the master teachers aren't on there. So they could go on these platforms that they're not on and talk all their craziness that they want to talk, knowing that, you know, there ain't nobody on there gonna be saying anything about anything, because more than likely it's gonna be new people who are on these platforms, you know. But that just hit me too, this thing about her being a mufti at the classes.
Yeah, I think my mother said it best. You know, the perspective of mufti is Moorish United Front towards Islam. If we're talking about the actual, you know, physical security force, like I personally like never looked at her as a mufti, personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying sisters can't fight, sisters can't be on point and be like, yo, watch. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying I didn't see her like that. And anything outside of Moorish United Front towards Islam at that time, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the first class she came to. I was given a lecture. I had the definition of black from the Hensley Wedgwood up on the screen in the temple room at the theater. And she was blown away, bro. She was blown away, like, to see, like, black means pale, etc. Like, this is up on the screen off of a projector, right? So, you know, outside of that, like, I never really seen her as a mufti. I thought she was an interested student, you know, and anybody willing to learn, I respect that, you know what I'm saying? But anything outside of that, you're trying to get, it's like, you know, that's like somebody going to college and then, you know, talking trash about the teacher. It's like, did you get the degree or not? You know what I'm saying? Did you put in the work or not? Doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you get what you were supposed to get out of the situation? Or you wanted to do everything else except learn, then that's on you, yo. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't have nothing to do with that. And again, nobody ever said, yo, to come through this door, you got to pay dues. It was a contribution, a donation, because everything, you know what I'm saying, had to, you know, take finance to have operations go. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we owned the National Theater or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, it had to be contributed. Like, we had to contribute to be there. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, yeah, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard for me. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know there's some warrior queens out there, but being ratchet doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you're a warrior. You might just be, you know, ratchet. And that doesn't equate to being wise, you know what I'm saying? Being stuff, knowing how to move, right? So, yeah, that may be in, you know, somewhere in certain people's DNA, but I'm just saying I never seen it like that. That's what I'm saying, from my perspective. Yes, yeah. So, yeah, facts. So, yeah, I see the association and the disrespect. And it's like, why do that? You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I'm not out here blaming my high school teachers for, you know, what did or didn't happen to me in life. Like, yeah, we know that system is set up a certain way. You know what I mean? Like that, but we know what that operation comes from. We out here teaching people about their nationality and their birthrights, civics, you know what I'm saying? Astrology, things of that nature, astronomy, things that Moorish ancestors taught about and established on this planet. You know what I mean? They could say whatever they want to say about Moorish, current day, past, whatever. One thing that's a documented solid fact in history is our contribution to civilization on the planet. And they could say it started in Spain or Al-Andalus, however they like, but they have to acknowledge that. It started for them there more so. And then even that's arguable, because people would say, well, it really started in South America. And then you have Moors who say, well, yeah, it started in South America, but they didn't get civilized until Moors came to Europe. This is where they learned about pens. This is where they learned about astronomy. This is where they learned how to bathe, you know what I mean? And things of that nature. So You know what I mean? Like, one of the things, you know what I mean, is that I think it's like somebody thinking they all that, and then they recognize, like, damn, everything I am is because, you know, their parents taught them, or their friends, or their brother taught them. Well, Moors are that to European societies and history, right? Like, you're not the hot shit like that. Historically, y'all got it from us. I mean, that doesn't go to say that all of them are bad, all of them are good, but when we talk about history and contributions and civilizations, Moors did that for Europeans, modern Europeans. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a documented fact. Anywhere you want to go, if we was to say Moorish history started in 711, which we know that that's not true, because this is the foul part too. They say, well, it was Arabians who came into Europe and whatnot, and again, it's falsely attributed. Right, they're taking some sort of credit because we know the original Arabians are actually Moors. But what happens is people get identified by the language they speak, and that's not how it really works. So we see the same thing happen today. Like, people could be so-called Puerto Rican or Borinquen. People could be Mexican, you know, from South America, Argentina, whatever. And they will call all of them Spanish because that's the language they speak, right? But just because they speak that language doesn't make them that nationality. Mm-hmm. So when Moors were speaking Arabic and they attributed, you know, Moorish civilization to just Arabia, that was a falsehood too, in a sense, or truth and falsehood strangely mixed, because we spoke Arabic. Not only did we speak Arabic, we invented that language. Among with many others, we, as much as people don't like to admit it, we actually invented the Greek language. So when I hear people say, like, "Oh, Moor is a Greek word," like, why wouldn't it be? Moors invented that language, and it was mathematics. You know what I mean? Look at the language. Look at the first three letters. It's math: circle, squares, triangle. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are just the simplistic aspects in mathematics of life. You know what I mean? So again, it's like we are lost in what these things really, what the real attribution is, you know? So yeah, so I say don't get confused with the language that people speak being the actual nationality that they are. Because any person, anybody of any nationality could speak any language, you know, and it would never make them the nationality of the language they speak. So right now you have Moors who know how to speak English, right? But that doesn't necessarily make Moors English people. Though Moors are the original people of Britain and whatnot, right, the language we speak doesn't identify our nationality. That's a falsehood. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So yeah, so whether they want to say Moors are sovereign citizens or whatever, we know all of that is gas, bro. All of it is a false narrative, you know, to discourage people from connecting. Not just with us, but themselves. Right. In their history. You know what I mean? Either way it go, you know, you got people, oh, well, it wasn't Moors here, it was Indians. Thank God that, you know, a lot of Moors true and faithful Moors been doing their study and are pulling up the references where, you know, the word Indian substituted Moor. And we got David McRitchie saying the same thing in Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 2. You know what I mean? Like, the information is out there that the original people of this land, who they call Indians, were actually Moors. So, I mean, like, but again, if people are not doing the study, they're going off of what they think they know and what they've been told or taught in different institutions who they never really went and cross-referenced. Like, nobody ever gave them a homework assignment on that, right? They heard that, oh yeah, the Indians were found by Christopher Columbus. And that, you know, but nobody gave them the homework assignment to see, like, well, were they really Indians? And then it's even more obvious because, you know, he thought he was in so-called Asia, And that's why they call them Indians, because so-called India today, like a lot of civilization came out of there. J. Rogers mentions this in Sex and Race about the so-called Black Christ of India, or ancient Christ of India, and how Christ came from Krishna, but Krishna meant the black one, but it had nothing to do with skin complexion.
Right.
It was talking about it was talking about the nighttime, day and night, light and darkness. It had nothing to do when they say Krishna means the black one, that, you know, etymologically they're talking about brown-skinned people or Moors or Aboriginals. Like, no, it was about astrology again. You know what I'm saying? So all of it is astro-theology in these modern forms of what they call in religion and whatnot. But we see a lot of those habits translate over into people trying to, you know, gain notoriety and credibility, you know, like falsely associating people with things that they have nothing to do with. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I remember that, bro. Like, I see a pattern. People are trying to come up off of this, and it's just not going to work. Again, it just took me back with that situation, because that was such a bold accusation. You know what I mean? That even when she was saying this, she brought my mom into it, who, again, my mother has nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump all over the place, but I'm seeing the pattern. My mother had nothing to do with her personal choices, right? But she brings her into it. And again, it's like this continuous thing of people trying to come up off of falsely blaming people. So again, it just reminded me of how much that has been going on. And it just took me back to, like, because I was like, nah, these can't be Moors. They said, what? They said that RVBey and Taj is responsible for what?
Yeah.
Corinne Gaines being shot. The police? They said that?
Yeah.
Like, nah, son, they ain't just do that. Ali Muhammad said that? Like, really? Dog.
With a straight face, with a straight face too.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
straight face, they said that shit.
Straight face. I'm like, oh, y'all gonna not blame who actually did it, and then put this on somebody else? Because, you know, there was many people demonstrating at the time, no issues. So I don't know, man. Like, you know, that's why, again, it's hard to just trust everybody, bro, because, you know, this is the type of stuff that's going on. I think to a certain degree in the day and times that we in now, like, people need to be thoroughly vetted. If you're going to allow them in your circle, your personal circle, social circle, whatever it is, man, because people are looking for notoriety, you know what I'm saying, to say they wish they could, you know, say I was there or whatnot. And it's like, yo, just be you, live your life, have your experiences, but to blame people for stuff that they don't have nothing to do with, I can't respect that, because that has been going on way too long. And it's not getting anybody anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna keep it moving, but that's you conflicted. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand the consequences of your own actions. And you saying Islam, I self-law and master. How then do you turn around and blame somebody else for you and your actions? You're supposed to be the master. You're supposed to be I self-law and master. But you're going to blame other people for who you laid down with? Like, stop it, yo. Stop it. It's not making sense on any level, right? So I don't mind the questions of, well, is Islam a religion, or is I self-law and master something that was made up later? Like, you know, these are good questions. But when you start disrespecting people and falsely accusing them and putting a false responsibility or blame on them, that's not respectable to me, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't rock with that. I just can't, bro. Yeah, so when I seen that, I'm like, nah, man, like, this is way out of order. You know, maybe the sister needs some healing counselors, and I don't mean that like consular court, again, because I know that we're aboriginal to the North, South, and Central America. So politically speaking, I know there is no need for a consulate court. I get that. It is politically incorrect. You know, I'm talking about maybe the right word is therapist, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not counsel, but maybe she needs therapy if she believes she's been through something traumatic. And that's the thing. Her going and saying that she's been through all of that, she never named the dude who allegedly did this to her.
Right.
But is blaming RVBey publications. How you gonna say you got violated like that and don't put the dude out there who did it, but you blaming RVBey publications? Come on, fam.
Yeah.
You can see there's another agenda. There's another agenda, and it's just not right and exact, and it's not going to work.
But that's the thing, when you look at, yeah, but when you look at it too, you realize as well, based on these actions of people, you realize that the incident that's present is not really where the damage is at. There's something that has happened before, going back to the thing that you're saying with the therapy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the guy who finally gets caught robbing the bank or whatever, that wasn't his first issue. You know what I mean? There's always something before that led to the final, you know, the final nail in the coffin, when they snap and do something crazy. There's always something before. And we realize with especially in the Moorish paradigm, I noticed that those imbalanced people like to hide behind their turban and fez, because, like you're saying, I self-law, I'm master and whatever like that. But when you go check their self, you realize that these people are toxic. They really don't have their stuff together. They shouldn't even be having turbans and fezzes on and have nationality cards and RVBey and all that, because they haven't even checked their self yet. And that's a lot of these people who have something to say. A lot of these people who's pointing at others for no reason, because they don't want to point at themselves and correct themselves. They have issues going on pre their issue that they're complaining about. And majority of them haven't dealt with their issues, whether you know, whoever violated them, they're not around anymore, or they're a coward, so they don't want to face up to whatever it is the issue is. But it has to be acknowledged, you know, that people have pre-issues, that when they were Negro, black, colored, whatever happened to them, and then they're using the Moorish paradigm to escape whatever BS they don't want to deal with. But take it as a lesson that, you know, you could only sweep stuff under the rug for so long until you have the big lump under the rug. Now you got to explain, well, why are you sweeping stuff? Why don't you just put the stuff in the garbage? You know what I mean? Why are you sweeping stuff under the rug? Why aren't you dealing with the issue or the issues that are leading up? Like we're saying with the generational curses. You know that you come from a toxic upbringing. You know that, you know, you're a child services guinea pig or whatever like that, and you don't want to deal with that. You want to use Moorish science to hide the fact that, you know, your mom or your dad was toxic, and they passed that toxic stuff on to you. Don't get mad at other people. You know what I mean? Fess up and get some assistance, because with all these Moors out here, all these different master whoever's, you could have probably sat down with them, vented, get your little cry out or whatever like that, and probably would have felt better after, and not have to go on these little tirades as if, you know, is no different than than the people who are doing the repetitive thing. You know, that Moore's been doing. Moore's been doing something, and then here comes somebody creating the wheel again. When we got wheels for days in the Moorish movement. How much wheels we need in this? You know, we got enough wheels. We need some screws. We need some bolts. We need some hammers. We need some other things opposed to wheels. You know, it has to be acknowledged that if you haven't dealt with your issues as nigger, Negro, black, colored, whatever like that, whatever issues it is that you had before you came into the Moorish paradigm and said, you know, we're RVBeys and all that stuff is going to follow you. Take it as a lesson. If you don't deal with your issues, the stuff is going to come into the Moorish paradigm with you, and it's going to mess you up in the Moorish paradigm worse than if you would have just dealt with it initially. It's going to mess you up worse. Because if you're saying I, self, law, and master, then that means you know better. And if you know better, you're supposed to do better. And then if you're not doing better, but you're claiming that you know better, then you're probably riding on some issues that you haven't dealt with, that you really need to go check yourself. You really need to go check yourself. And we're not even hearing all that stuff about, you know, well, I did my natal chart and all that stuff. Well, if you're a Negro doing that, you ain't doing anything. You're not doing anything. If your mind is warped, what's the natal chart gonna do? You're gonna have a warped mind looking at your natal chart. You're gonna have a warped mind with no counseling. Get the counseling first. Get the therapy first. Get yourself fixed up. It's like we say, if you're a Negro for 30 years and then you said that you're a Moor tomorrow, then you're gonna have to be a Moor for 30 years before you straighten this stuff out. You're not gonna be a Moor, be a Negro for forever, and then one day you're a Moor, and then now you're Super Saiyan. The hell out of here. You got nigger issues that you need to deal with before you start saying you're RVBey, Al and Ali and holding up Qurans and teaching classes and all that stuff. Fix yourself first. Fix yourself first before you go out there trying to talk about you're fixing people. Because all you're going to do is mess those people up, which is part of the reason why stuff is so messed up, because you have messed up people teaching people. Instead of them sitting their ass down somewhere and getting themselves in order, getting themselves aligned. But this goes back to remember when there was a certain time frame. There was a certain time frame when before anybody would talk, they would ask elders, "Can I have permission to speak?" And you don't even hear that anymore. You don't even hear that anymore. These people don't even care about no elders anymore. Elders are nobody. They're the man. They just came yesterday. Just came out the womb. They still got the blood on them and all that stuff, talking about let's go make some meals. You don't even know how to use your hands and your eyes yet. Just came out of the incubator. But you're the man. You got the answers to save the Moors. And these people are toxic. Beyond toxic. Right? It's a lesson. This is the thing about you know, always calling out the traitors and dirty Moors and all that stuff. So don't be these people. Don't be them. There's too many examples of great people out there for you to be chasing after some dingbat who thinks that they're somebody. But going back again, these look at me people. Everybody wants to be the man. Everybody wants to be the woman. They want to be the one that saves the Moors, but they ain't saved themselves yet. How they saving Moors if they never saved themselves? Stop it. It's absolutely counterproductive. It's counterproductive. You know, fix yourself first. Put on your mask before you put on somebody else's. How you gonna save somebody and you're dying? How about stop yourself from dying first and then stop some other people from dying? Don't bring your COVID around everybody. Go drink some ginger. Go drink some ginger or something first. Get yourself better. Get COVID out your system before you start spreading your COVID to everybody else. Stop it.
Facts. And you said something earlier as well about certain people not needing to even be wearing turbans and fezes. And this is no knock to those crowns themselves. From my understanding of reading the history of the Moorish Empire in Europe, the turban is the highest diadem or crown of the Muslim, right, or the Moor. But I will say that there is a saying of it being a difference when something is in you and something is on you, right? So you can have a bad energy on you because you was just in a bad vibe. That don't mean that it's in you, right? Like you just came out of that energy. You could have seen something traumatic, whatever it is, and you're like, yo, I just gotta clear myself real quick. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. That don't necessarily have to be in you. And it's the same thing with the clothing, with the regalia. People could put on fezes, turbans, whatever, and it's literally just on them. It is not in them, right? So like the brother says in Uplift the V, standing on my square even without shoes, like with none of that on, right? Is it still in you? Like, is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Is it really still in you? Because if it's not, it's going to show. You know what I'm saying? And if it is, it's going to be made known. It's going to be evident. It is going to be very obvious. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, yeah, it's a respect level that goes with that. But, you know, sometimes you just got to take the time to really understand what you're representing. Like when you put that on. Like, if it's really not in you and it's just on you, you might be doing yourself a disservice by trying to represent that. You know what I mean? Because it's not in you. It's all show. You know what I'm saying? It's all optical illusion in a sense of you're wearing that. Because look, Masons wear feathers too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wear them too with Islam on it. And Mecca, Medina, Morocco, Egypt, you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, they got the knowledge, they're the custodians, the gatekeepers, but is Morocco more in a European than the Moor? It might be on them, but is it really in them? You know what I mean? So at the same time, if we don't really make this a part or understand how we are connected, you know what I mean, by lineage, descent, whatnot, then you know, you can be in the same status of it just being on you and really not in you. And I want to say, too, don't let people who come into the movement acting like they're tough because they did do jail time, you know what I'm saying, fool you as if they're legit because they did jail time. Like, that doesn't make somebody legit, you know what I mean? And I don't want to cross the streets with this pristine information, but you know, I'm gonna leave that there. But a lot of people who are fronting like they're valid because they did time, don't get it twisted. You had some of the lowest of the low, and I'm not knocking. Please don't get me wrong. I know there's sincere, good-hearted people who go through the hardest of times, but don't let somebody act like that is their credibility. You know what I'm saying? There's also good people who went through the hardest of times, and don't they're not too proud of that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're not. There's some things they would have done better, and they would teach you to learn from their mistakes in that regard. But at the same time, if somebody's out here like, I did 10 years, listen to me, because the right to travel don't work and all of this, watch them people, because these tough guys, I know for a fact, and I'm going to just leave this there, because again, I don't want to cross, street modern culture with, something ancient and pristine, but some of the worst people, you know what I'm saying, will bust their gun and all of that and still throw you under the bus. And when I say that, I mean what will be labeled as a snitch in the street could still do time, bro. You know what I'm saying? So check these people's files before they start talking about how many years they did. You know what I mean? Say, well, why you only get that amount of time? You know what I mean? If they want to talk that street talk, you know what I mean? Well, why you, for that, you only got that amount of time? What happened? Where's the transcript? You know what I'm saying? Check their file. If they trying to bring that street talk into their credibility as a Moor, or being a Moor. Because their stories, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. So, again, I'm going to leave that there. Just because somebody did time does not make them legit officials. Some Moors will say, well, you did time for that, but there's Moors who fought on the principles that you're trying to discredit and got off.
Yeah.
Literally for, you know what I'm saying? So if you're sitting here talking about you did time because of that, you were a fool in some Moors' eyes because they knew the law, stood on the law, and didn't have to do that, and didn't have to throw nobody under the bus in doing that. So, yeah, I'll just say watch them, you know what I mean? That's weird. They'll bust their gun and still snitch on you, dog.
And
you
again,
know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna leave that there.
And again, it'll be the ones closest to you. Right? It'll be the ones closest to you. It'll be the ones who came over and helped cook the food and all that stuff. Who's gonna try to poison your ass? You know, it's gonna be the ones who you get comfortable with. Who's gonna be the ones to turn on you first? Because, you know, you had the love of Allah in your heart, and we're Moors, and we're supposed to love instead of hate and all that stuff. Well, you're supposed to just, but not really. Yeah, but not really. You know what I mean? Just like we tell people with, we tell these youths now with this thing of, you know, they're going to all these different concerts and they're going clubbing, and you better check baby pictures, because that might not be sisters that you're dancing on and all that stuff. It might not be a sister. You better double check just to be sure, because people out here tripping right now. It's tripping time right now, and people are tripping hard, fall on their face and all that. So don't be one of them that trip and fall on your face, you know, because your hands are full. You're busy on your phone or something like that, now watching where you're going, falling in fountains and all that stuff. Don't be them. Make sure you're checking everybody. Don't take anything. Don't take anyone for granted. This is just the time that we're in. You know what I mean? Just like the dummies are gonna be, you know, in their car by themselves with their mask on or whatever. They don't even trust themselves. Same thing with you. Don't trust anybody. Fact check it all. Make sure. Just make sure. Because it's the ones who you thought were down. It's the ones who said, oh yeah, we're gonna promote you and we're gonna plug you. We mentioned your name. They're going to be the ones to talk BS to somebody else behind your back. And it's going to be you being righteous, you being sincere, that's going to have, you know, like Drew Ali said, I have spies everywhere. because there were people who the sellouts didn't expect would come up and say, hey, you know, guess who the sellout is? Guess who's talking crazy about you? Guess who just said whatever about you? There's always going to be somebody there. If you're sincere and you're honest, there's always going to be somebody there who's going to have your back that you didn't expect. But that's based on you being right. That's based on you living by the principles and them realizing that you're living by the principles, that you have morals, you have certain standards. There's a certain bar that you live your life by. You know, especially in this Moorish paradigm. There's a certain level that you're supposed to be at so that you don't have these individuals try to mess your life up, you know, giving you bad advice and all this, telling you do this, do that they never even did for themselves yet. Oh yeah, we got this package over here. We got this you know, Moorish travel document that we're creating so you can go anywhere you want, and they never used it yet. They never used it anywhere. They never went anywhere with the stuff that they're claiming they got packaged to sell you, and they never used the package. But you're gonna pay them to go use the package that they never used. Right? There's some deceitful, yeah, there's some deceitful people in this thing right now. We always go back to when I came into this in 2008, and all you had was master teachers. You didn't have dirty Moors and stuff like that. Like, it was non-existent in 2008. Only master teachers were doing lectures. There were no dirty Moors going live and proving whatever they're proving today. Wasn't happening because one, nobody was looking at the new people as somebody to listen to. Who the hell are you? Where you call? Ain't nobody listening to new people. How are you listening to them for? Yeah, you know what I mean. You know, that's how we go back to the thing with Black Dot. That, hey, if you weren't on VHS and DVD, we don't know you. Who are you? Where you come from? Pull out the tapes, pull out the DVDs, so we could see that you actually been doing this. We want to see that you've been doing this. It has to be apparent that the individuals are qualified. There's many, what's the word? Unqualified people? There's many people who aren't qualified right now that are saying that they can do this and they can do that. And they have this for you and they have that for you. Because, you know, they got the fez with the yellow tassel on it. So that means that they're qualified. They got the orange fez, so that means that they're qualified. When they have nothing for you. All they are is an opportunist. Whether they want the fame, whether they want the nobility, whether they want your finance, whatever it is that they want that you're going to give them, whatever it is that they want that you're going to give them, they're not even qualified to receive that. You know, absolutely not qualified. And they do the most to try to sway things in their direction. You know, talking crazy about RVBey. You know, talking crazy about Astro-theology, talking, you know. Oh yeah, go ahead, Mar.
Yeah, I get it now. You posted I guess you reposted maybe about a week ago. Pardon me, I've been transitioning to another terrain and whatnot. But you posted the video of the dude in China who's claiming to have these Moorish travel documents or whatnot. You know, and it was obvious, you know, what you put in the caption, he was acting like a diva. You know, he had on, I don't know if it was emeralds, but I don't think so. It looked like plastic green earrings or whatnot.
Yeah.
And like he was really checking himself out in the video, like a woman would do. Like I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it now because in that clip, you can't tell me he wasn't in some feminine energy, bro. I mean, turban, rat, like a female, like, you know what I mean? I'm not knocking the turban, but like his whole presentation there was very feminine, right?
Very.
It's not just the turban. It was the fact that he was checking himself out, right? And I thought about it. I said, oh, okay. I can see why he's upset at my mother. I don't know this dude. Never met him in my life, right? But again, there's some brothers who actually want to be the women. Mm-hmm. And so therefore their disdain is real towards women. Yeah. Right? Like, because this is who they want to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's a Pop-Tart. You know what I'm saying? He is in that energy, right? Like, so when I seen that, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. He didn't grow to his masculine. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in a feminine energy. Therefore, he would have disdain towards a lot of females. And this is not, you know, him on relationship advice. He's hating. He wants to be in the position of a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I seen that clear in that clip, bro. And you called it out. You was like, I see you, Diva Morris. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We see all of that. You know what I mean? And it just made sense. Like, yeah, because, you know, who people are hating are the people who want to be in that position. And then again, you got women who do the same thing. Like, you have women hating on women or whatnot because they actually want to be in that position of what they perceive. Because I'm not putting words in Sharice's mouth, but, you know, you listen to her talk, you could tell there's a level of jealousy, right? You know, why does RVBey teach about corporations being bad when she obviously has a successful corporation? Like, what? Or company or whatever. And it's like, y'all missing the point. What was being taught was that, and this is not because we made it up, this is documented fact, that the United States of America is itself a corporation. That's the point on corporations, right? So nobody's saying there's anything wrong with having a corporation or a business or whatever, but understand that no different than that from all documented historical accounts, the United States of America is just that. That was what I got from, you know, corporations as far as certain Moorish perspective. And it's not really just the Moorish perspective. It is documented in law. Like, if you look up the word person in the law book, it clearly tells you that corporations are persons, as that word is used in the first clause of the 14th Amendment. If you look in the Institutes of American Law, it tells you the same thing. The United States of America, as well as the states singly, may be termed corporations, right? So to think that they're countries, to think that these are continents, this is the issue with that concept. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like people are saying, hey, don't be industrious and economic, you know, economically inclined. This is essential basic life things, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to see anybody be a bum, you know what I mean? Yeah. But understand that when you think that your country, or, you know, you live on a continent called the United States, you are clearly lacking in geographical knowledge, right? Because the United States of America is a big colony. America is a big continent, you know what I'm saying? North America, South America. These are continents. United States is not a continent. The United States is not a country. It is a colony. It is a corporation. It is a business. That's what it is. I didn't make that concept up. This is documented in law books from the 1800s to the mid-1900s. So for that concept to be foreign shows that, you know, there's been a miseducation. And we're just trying to bring that to light. So yeah, you know, ain't nobody saying don't be industrious. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like the point of perspective on corporations is just that. If the word person is used in the first clause of the 14th Amendment, means corporation, you have to understand that according to the distinction of artificial person and natural person, that you are not an artificial person. You are not a corporation. You can say whatever you want and try to convince people, oh, just go along to get along. The truth is the truth, and the facts are the facts, right? That's what that whole thing was about, is to make you an economic slave, really. So you could get into economics, and then you start finding out, damn, I'm just working. The more you gain, the more debt you're actually gaining for, right? You got, and I'm not saying this isn't how do I say this? I don't want to say we should expect a handout. I understand the concept of, well, the resources should be free, but, you know, everything is, the way they have it set up is like everything is for debt, right? You got to pay your electric bill, pay your gas bill, water bill, all of these things, right? Then you get to another corporation, you start making money, and they say, well, you owe us too. So it's like you're working to pay off everybody else. So, you know what I mean? This is the concept in the sense of being aware of what this is. You know what I mean? And if you're not aware, you don't receive it, that's on you. But ain't nobody make this up. We didn't make this up. The research is there. You can look this up for yourself. And I'm just saying, if you do that, I don't think there's nothing to argue about. See, people love to be argumentative and, you know, they said this and it don't mean that, and you should do it like this and all of that. And arguing, you know, new points because they haven't studied for themselves. So I find that when you actually study this information for yourself and not just go off of what you're pocket watching or, you know, coming up with your own analysis and you know, stereotyping or thinking you know somebody that you don't. You know, when you study this information for yourself, it becomes evident that there's really nothing to argue about. Like, these are straight facts. And, you know, placing blame in the wrong place, like, you know what I'm saying, is not productive for anybody. Because then we got to have these talks, and it's like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why should we have to even say something about somebody's personal sex life? Well, because they brought us in it, and we ain't had nothing to do with it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, yeah, like, this is the last thing I want to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be sitting there talking about what happened with her. Like, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my business. You know what I mean? Again, you know, if it was somebody who was really like that amongst us and was violating the women like that, yeah, call them out. You know what I'm saying? But don't say that this imaginary character did this to you and you're not going to name who that is, but you're going to blame everybody else for this being your reason for discrepancy. Like, that is not truth. That's not love. That's not peace. That's not justice. That's none of that. That is slander, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, that's straight up slander. You know what I mean? That is that's an undercut. That's dirty activity. And you know what I mean? Like, let's just take more out of it. If you had people going to church and two people sat in the same row and gained an attraction for each other, or was an attraction for the jump, and they decided on their own time outside of the church or outside of the temple or outside of the mosque, if they were going to hook up, can you then blame the pastor or the imam or whoever or the grand sheikh for their choices if they ain't let it be made known to nobody that, look, we about to be dating or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are personal choices. You can't blame anybody outside of self after that. And I just want to re-emphasize that, because this blame game thing and people running with the narrative, you know, is disgusting to me. You know what I mean? Yep. Because it's not real. It's not true. Mm-hmm. You know, so again, when people for their actions and, you know, and accepting the consequences of their choices and things of that nature.
Yeah, but
and, you know what I mean? We're talking about a competent society, you know, people who are developing. But when people sit back and blame everybody else who literally had nothing to do with it, you know what I mean? Like that's a whole nother level of people I really don't want nothing to do with, bro.
yeah.
I really don't. Yeah.
And that really shows the minority of their mindset. You know, it really shows that they're really not Moors yet. They're still Negro black colored. They're still a minor in their thinking. You know, you think about when you were a child, and you know, toys, have to share toys with siblings or whatever like that. You know what I mean? And you're racing cars messed up or whatever because you've been launching it off the freaking kitchen table or whatever, and then your little cousin or your little sister or whatever like that, their toy is still new and all that stuff. Wait for them to go to bed so you could switch the stuff and all that. These people are still minors. They haven't grown into who they really are as a Moor yet. Like we're saying, turban doesn't make you. Fez doesn't make you. The card doesn't make you, like they were talking about last night. You know, paperwork doesn't make you who you are. If you think I got some paper, so now I'm a Moor, or I got this card, so now I'm a Moor, you're not there yet. You're way off. And then with that minor mindset, going out there talking about teach people, going out there talking about putting people on game. It's like I had mentioned this earlier in Brother Mafi's chat when they were talking about the courts and all that. Right now, they're going to be switching from Regina versus to Rex versus, because Regina's the queen and the queen's dead. So if they're going to say Rex versus now, so you had a fiction that was the injured party. The crown was the plaintiff all the time. And now the crown's the plaintiff again, but now they're going to be saying Rex. They're not going to be saying Regina anymore. But now really got to check. Are they, you know, because I haven't been to court never, because I already know these people are criminal. But if you go to court and you see that they're saying Regina still after the queen's dead, that should let you know that these people are a corpse. If they're not saying Rex versus, if they're still saying Regina versus, you better realize what's going on.
Is this an example or this is real facts?
Huh?
Is this an example or is this like real facts because the quote queen died? Like when you say they're saying vagina versus Rex, like is this a case or what?
No, they in the court dockets out here, the plaintiff is always the crown, but the crown is Regina.
Oh.
But if she just died, they can't be saying Regina anymore, because they ain't no queen. Yeah, R versus whatever. But the R is gonna be either Rex or Regina for the king or the queen. Right? But they're not gonna say the crown. They're not gonna say the crown versus you, because then that gives up the game. Because obviously a crown can't be a plaintiff. Obviously it has to be a name of somebody. It can't be a crown. You know, you got a table versus you. You go into court and the table versus you, and you're taking that serious? You got mental problems.
No, yeah, and this is one of the lessons where, again, and let me add this on, because a lot of people be talking crazy about law and Moorish perspective on law. I mean, one of the simplest lessons, we were just talking about this the other day with another Moor, and, one of the simplest lessons when it comes to law and understanding, overstanding who claims to be the adversary when people are going up against, accusations, is like you're saying, in Canaanland they say Rex or Regina, and in the lower part they say the state of versus whoever, or, you know what I mean? And the simplest question to ask is, because you do have the right to face your accuser, can the state of whoever, wherever, present themselves in this room, so-called courtroom or whatever, and actually, be able to have me face my accuser? Like, can that happen? No, they always have to have a representative, which is a prosecutor representing the state, which cannot technically accuse you, right? There's no real injured party. So let's say Moore is traveling on the right to travel, and then they say, state of whoever versus whoever, Bay or whatnot, or L whatnot. It's like, well, can the L ask the opposing party to actually be here and fulfill the confrontation clause in the Constitution? That cannot happen. The prosecutor isn't necessarily the injured party on paper to claim it. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to prosecute a case for a party that can't present itself. So they're not the injured party either.
Yeah.
And it's like, until we really understand that basic of how the Constitution works and how, you have the right to face your accuser, and the state of wherever cannot physically be there for you to face them, therefore it's usually no real lawful case. And don't get me wrong, like, there's cases where people do injure other parties, you know what I'm saying? But the right to face your accuser, it can't be fictitious. Like, it has to be a real injured party. And when we really grasped that concept, it was like, yo, all of this is, everything they're doing is fraud. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not crazy. We're not crazy. This is basic knowledge.
Bro, that was the slap. That was the slap that I got when it hit me. That why am I even going to these people's stuff? Like, why am I even in here? When I asked them, well, is Regina here? Is Regina here? I was talking to the prosecutor. Says Regina here so I can face my accuser, because I have a right to face my accuser, right, prosecutor? Yeah, you have a right to face your cross, but I'm that. But you weren't anywhere. You weren't anywhere. Well, this is a quasi court. Say that again. This is a quasi court. Oh, all right. Thanks. What's the fine or whatever like that? Let me just pay this and get the hell out of here, because I'm not even coming up in here anymore for anything.
Right.
Just let me know what the thing is, so I can get the hell out of here. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense being up in here.
Like, that's legit, bro. They'll say it like that's legit. I've seen that happen to a Moor. I've seen that happen to my mom, bro. The magistrate was like, she was questioning the jurisdiction, Magistrate said, oh, this is a quasi-criminal court. I'm like, did he just say that shit like it was legit? He didn't just say it like it was legit. Did he just say that?
Straight
face. Sure enough, straight face. And a couple weeks later, he was removed from the bench and whatnot. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will talk BS like it's legit.
Yeah.
And this is what we trying to get people to see. It's like, yo, don't be fooled. Like, because they're acting under color of authority. That's what that is. You gotta know that. Yeah. Do they do what they do? Yeah, they do what they do. But do you know what they doing?
Right.
Do you know what they doing?
Do you know what they're doing?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, because if you know what they doing, you can't be tricked. You can't be tricked, because you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, you get the result of people talking crazy like what they're doing is legit. And it's not. You know what I'm saying? So there's a venue, there's venue jurisdiction, things like that, and all of that is in the Constitution. You know what I mean? You gotta really understand, and overstand that when it comes to that aspect. You know, yeah, man. So people just lay down and say, well, it's like this, and listen to me. I did 5 years, I did 10 years, and I know. And Moses looking at you like, you did that time for that? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying anybody can't be violated. I'm just saying you ain't had no fight. Like, you, really? What was you doing, bro? Like, what did you do to get that much time? Because if you was out here in your lower self trying to rob, steal, you know, yeah, because a lot of it translates to their position on camera. They out here trying to rob people of their reputation. They're stealing people's reputation. They're doing all of that lower self stuff for YouTube views, Instagram views, Facebook likes, whatever they're doing. And it's like, oh yeah, so you came on the scene trying to steal and defame RVBey and other Moors' reputation, but that's what you was doing before you came into this movement. Again, look at your heart. You know what I'm saying? When his file got pulled, he was a thief. He was snatching purses and snitching on people. So they talk that tough talk and gangster talk. I'm looking at this like, nah, these are the people who got flipped by the Agent Smiths, who are on here talking like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They wasn't Neo in those back rooms. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They got turned to Mr. Smith. They came on YouTube as Mr. Bey. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, and that's no shot at Moves as a collective. I'm just saying there is some Smiths amongst. Again, it's on them, not in them. Yeah. It's on them. It is not in them.
Yeah, no different.
You know what I'm saying? The T-shirt with the 5-pointed star, that's on them. It is not in them. It's all show. You know what I mean? There's people who really live that life. Yeah, people, you know what I mean? People and they do it still in the principles of Noble Dry Lee what he laid out. Because when we talk about freedom, a lot of people's concept is very short on that subject matter. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they think freedom is, you know, just not being in jail. Which, you know, that is an aspect of freedom, not being in jail, but it's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're in this world with a physical, like, let's just take pets, right? Like, people have dogs, and they can put an invisible electrical fence around the perimeter. I'm not just saying this. Like, this is a real thing. Yep. Like, pet owners and dog owners, like, they can have yards where at the end of the yard, you know, there's an electrical fence that's invisible. That dog is not free just because it's off of the leash. It has a limitation. Mm-hmm. What we're saying is, you know what I mean, when we talk about freedom, it's not the right to be able to just violate civil society and do whatever we want, but when there are restrictions that are unjust and not due, that's contrary to the principles we say we're supposed to be standing for. Yeah. Right? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If nothing else. You can find those principles in every so-called religion, every holy book. These are common themes. So you should be able to connect with anybody. You know, unless people are self-righteous, of course, and, oh, no, that's not what, you know what I mean? You know how that goes. But I'm saying, you know, once you profess to be a Moorish American, and this is your presentation, like, you could tell me everything about Noble Dry Lee. I want to know about these 5 principles, because these are not feel-good principles, like I said before. Mm-hmm. These are legal and lawful principles. So when people are standing on that, those lawful and legal principles, right, whether it's love, you know what I'm saying, you see people who have significant others, that may translate to them to marriage in one sense, right? So you can, any aspect of any of these principles is relatable on a lawful or legal level, right? You could just have love for your family. That's natural law. Somebody could be in love, and then that translates to them being married, and, you know, it's still lawful and legal. Then you got truth. What do they say? I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's lawful and legal again. You know what I mean? Peace. You know, this is another subject. There's disorderly persons, disturbing the peace, etc., etc. Like all of these in some way are relatable to anybody on a lawful and legal level. So love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Well, when we get to freedom, like how deep is that? You know what I'm saying? How deep is that to you as a Moor, being a Moor, Moorish American, proclaim? That means nothing. That means nothing.
It means nothing.
And then justice has many levels to it. Interior, exterior, perfect justice. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, you know, again, back to what you said earlier. Don't get caught up in the regalia, because on some people it really is on them, not in them.
Yep.
And you know,
and on them to the point where, you know, there's this thing now, and it's one of the Moors that I didn't really realize until this Moor snitched on consular court guy. But they're doing this, just as you're saying, that it's on them, not in them. The badge carrier consulate people, who they're telling people $5,000 to $7,000 for foreclosure papers, but they're doing those in offline Zooms. They're not doing it in the open, because they already know that if you do it in the open, these people are going to lose their head. So you know that it's not in them. You know that it's a charade. You know that it's a facade, because consulate people should be living in the house the mansion that they tried to steal. Why are they not living in the mansion, but you're still going to them for foreclosure, whatever? You're still going them try to claim properties when they don't even have the property that they tried to claim. It's a game. And you're paying for the game. That's how much of a game that it is to these people, that you're paying for it. They know that they have the paperwork to free you from this bondage called a mortgage. But they're not giving that to you as a brother or a sister. They're telling you $5,000 for the papers. Like, I know there's for example, there's people who, they know a doctor, for example. They know a doctor who all they got to do is scribble something on the paper, and then they have their vaccine, whatever, without them getting it. They ain't no $5,000 or nothing for that, because the doctor knows that this stuff is BS. The doctor knows that there's something wrong here. Things aren't adding up. 1 and 1 is not equaling 2 right now. Something's wrong here. So because this stuff is a fraud, then forget whatever they're talking about. You just bring your paper to me, I'm gonna sign off on it. No questions asked. You just bring the paper, I'm gonna sign off on it, because I got the Hippocratic oath on the wall. So I'll sign off on your stuff. No questions asked, no finance, no nothing. These people know that you can't pay your mortgage, and you're going into foreclosure, and they're telling you $7,000 when you can't even pay the mortgage. Where are you getting $7,000 from? Right. When these are supposed to be your brothers and sisters who's supposed to be looking out for you when something goes down. Not supposed to be telling you grands. Why are they telling you grands for some stuff that they're supposed to be giving to you? If it's like that, if it works like that, then why are they playing this game with you? And then why they doing it secretly on some Zoom in secret that they thought, you know, certain people aren't gonna tell. You know, they're gonna hear the price tag and they're just gonna be with it. No, there's more out here who actually, you know, are sincere. And they don't want to see people get played. They don't want to see people get gamed. You know, and then there's other ones who, you know, they're gonna make sure that they get their 50% cut or whatever because I brought you 5 people that paid $5,000. If I bring you 5 people that pay $5,000 and I can get 2 out of that $5,000, then damn, I'm gonna bring you 20 people tomorrow. Just like we said, not everybody's Neo. A lot of these people are cipher. Dressing up as Neo. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Use your reasoning mind. Use your higher senses. Because guaranteed, it's a guarantee that it's going to be your own that's going to put you in slavery. Don't worry about some European being your slave master. Watch out for the Adanga man. Honors to Azazel again.
Facts.
Watch out for the Adanga man. Watch out for him. What about some damn chimpanzee? Chimpanzee put you in slavery? You worried about chimpanzee put you in slavery? It's not Planet of the Apes.
Word. Bro, look, I'm 35, bro. And it was, maybe about 3.5 weeks ago, I ran into a brother from my hometown. And we was out of town, but not too far. And I had heard rumors for years that it was this other brother who snitched on him. Now, for a while, I couldn't believe it because this dude was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you went out with this brother, you was guaranteed to get into a fight at the end of the night. You was guaranteed he was going to pop off on somebody. He was and he could fight. He could fight. I seen him really get in people. You like, damn, son, you always fighting. But he would always be starting shit. Like, if you go out, you know at the end of the night there's going to be a fight. So when we was young and didn't know any better in our teen years, we was like, oh, yeah, that's gangster. You know what I'm saying? But it really wasn't. It was not, right? Because he is the same dude who, and I asked the brother from my hometown about this. I was like, yo, is it true that he snitched on you? He was like, yeah, I got the tapes. I got all of that. It came out in Discovery. Like, I got it on DVD. Like, you know, this is what they used against him at the trial. Like, this same so-called gangster, ready to fight everybody, did the op for the investigation. Like you said, he got close. He got close to him and was wearing a wire around him. Got the brother convicted, did 6 years. So I ain't seen him in mad years. But people was telling me, like, yo, that dude, he snitched on such and such. And I'm like, y'all gotta be styling. Like, that happened. So, yeah, I seen him, we exchanged information, and I asked him about it. He was like, yeah. I asked him, that was the first question I asked him. And then I asked him, I was like, yo, so how you feel when you go back to the hometown and see the gentrification that happened? He was like, yo, Miz, for real, when I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? He was like, because once that happened to me, it was hard for me to trust anybody from the hometown to anywhere. I was like, damn, that's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, again, and the same dude who bought, because, again, I said I'm 35 because now people could just turn on their YouTube, you know what I'm saying, and start snitching or, you know what I mean, come around you recording on their cell phone or call you up and record the conversation type thing. So it's the same kind of energy. It's the same activity, but they don't have to wear a wire no more. You know what I'm saying? So, real talk. So Yeah, I'm saying that to say, please don't confuse these dudes who are acting like tough guys with them actually being real people, genuine people, those who could honor something like the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. That is not true. And again, just because somebody did 5, 7, 10 years in jail does not make them real. It does not. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people who suffered that because of those who were not real. You understand? So yeah, man, I'm just saying, you know, this tough guy shit that I see Moorish trying to be on the new wave and whatnot. I'm not impressed. I don't really care where they from. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not impressing because we've seen that before. You know what I mean? That's why I said, you know, it's nothing scarier than somebody who would bust a gun, but then still turn around and throw you under the bus, because those type of people exist. You understand? So the tough guy thing, don't get trapped with that. You know what I'm saying? Don't get trapped with that. Don't let that allure you into becoming a Moor. Like, that's not, no. Because the first thing you should ask a Moor is like, well, if you really knew the lessons of Noble Dry Lee that you're saying you read, how did you not know enough civics to have a fighting chance? Like, what happened with that part? What happened with that part? You know what I'm saying? Are you going to make this about what a Moor's religion is? Like, oh, well, because, you know, the holy day is Friday. You got to be Muslim and all of this. Like, fam, you know what I'm saying? The unifying factor was whether a Moor, because Moor is not a religion. Like, it is an identity of a nation. So whether a Moor is a Buddhist, whether a Moor is following the teachings of Yahshua, whether a Moor is proclaiming to be a Muslim, right? All of them essentially have a common theme, right? That because of the lessons of Noble Dry Lee, we ought to be able to know how to correlate and see the connection, opposed to, well, if you're not a Muslim, who said a Moor couldn't be a Buddhist? Like, we didn't establish that too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Who? And then if you're claiming to be a Christian, are you a Christian, or are you following a Jewish doctrine? Are you following an Egyptian doctrine and don't know it? Like, you know what I mean? Who are you? What are you into? These are all conversation points. So again, I'm saying that to say, don't let any of these new Moors acting tough guy and acting like you have to be a Muslim persuade you into, you know, what vibe you're actually on. Because whether you're a Moor who's a Buddhist, you know what I'm saying, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, in the church, whatever it is, all of that, all of those, the texts is what I'm saying, are ours. Because you got people who will say, oh, those Moors are sovereign citizens. They're taking houses and all of that. But Muslims don't do that. Well, it's like, damn, bro, like, did you see in the Great Quran of Muhammad or the Holy Quran of Mecca where it says there is no fault on your part for entering houses that are not used for living? Like, that is in the Holy Quran of Mecca, bro. That is in the Great Quran of Muhammad, fam. So it's like, what are you saying? You know what I'm saying? They're isolating certain religious principles and then claiming you to be outside of what Noble Dry Lee taught. And they don't know nothing about love, truth, peace, freedom, or justice. Emphasis on freedom and justice and truth. And then, you know what I'm saying, turning around and bashing you for whatever you may think your religious beliefs are. So it's like, you gotta know, you know, and then tough guys on top of it. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, don't get caught in the snare. You know what I mean? That's my main message, because a lot of people are trying to do that, thinking that they're about to come up and be the next Taj. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's their agenda. They want to be Taj. They want to be the next Taj. Me, I just want to be myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care too much for fame and notoriety. I appreciate everybody who rock on this line with us. You know what I'm saying? And who have been rocking on this line with us for almost 10 years now. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would say that for those who are really just coming in with their eyes wide open. Don't get tricked. You know, yes, there are real people in this movement, and then there are people who are really from the streets in this movement, but they don't wear that as a badge of honor to a lawyer. You know what I mean? Like, that's not their calling card to get you involved. You know what I mean? But at the same time, these are the experiences that shape us. So my first question to any more claiming they got the right way but did 10 years or whatever is, how did you end up doing 10 years if you so knowledgeable? Like, what happened? Did your rights get violated? Then if that's what happened, mention that part before you start saying, oh, these Moors don't have it right.
Yeah.
You know what they doing to people in them courtrooms? Unconstitutionally, anybody could end up being a victim of that. You know what I'm saying? And if that's what happened to you, say that. But don't sit here and say that because, you know, you heard the truth and tried to implement it, that it's now the fault of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm here, more.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. I'm here.
Okay. All right, cool. My fault. I ain't mean to go on the rant, but I just want to say I see that out there too. Word. Who was you talking to in the chat? You said you were here when Miz isn't here. Stop lying. You're a troll, El God.
Yeah, one of them trolls. You know what the trolls do? The trolls are always in here. You know how they do.
Oh, okay. I don't know what they said. You know what I mean? See, the message was deleted, whatnot.
Yeah, no. What they said was I'm the guy who says mufti in the same breath, but says Moors are not Muslims.
Yeah. I mean, you know, all of it is our culture, bro. Like, I'm gonna just leave that there. Like, all of it is our culture. You know what I mean? Whether it's Islam, whether it's the teachings of Yeshua, the teachings in the Holy Bible, certain parts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Buddhism, all of it is ours. That's the point that I was making, is that all of them was founded by us. They could flip it however they want to, but it is what it is. Like, you know, the Bible is ancient writings. The Bible is not one book. It's a book with many books in it.
Right.
And some of those books in it are more modernized, and there's a lot of conflicting stories in there too. Because one is, from the jump, you know, we was made in the image and likeness of God on the sixth day, of course, which is the holy day for Moorish Americans. And then another one is we came from Adam and Eve in this same book of books. So what I'm saying is you have to have discernment when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my whole point, was to not let anybody like try to use you're not Muslim, so you're not a Moor, or you're not you don't believe in the teachings of Yeshua, so you're not you know, I'm holier than thou. That type of divisiveness, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, more, but yeah, all of it is ours. And actually, the mufti is a Mohammedan judge in one aspect too. So, you know, but again, like I said, it's all our culture, bro. All of it. So, yeah, and you have the right to choose or not to choose to be a part of it. That's a birthright too. If you don't want to be that, you don't have to. Like, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can't change the fact that you or I or anybody else is in fact a Moor. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're Moors no matter what we choose to identify as our religion. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this because I see so much divisiveness and people trying to degrade, discredit, associate false narratives with other Moors. And it's like, yo, all of this gotta this shit gotta stop, bro. You know what I mean? Because it's ridiculous. Yeah.
They got anybody push one in the queue?
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, no, we good. We got people in the queue, but nobody with their hand raised, no questions or nothing. So I mean, I think we good. You know, if people don't have any questions, we don't have to drag it out. I know next session we'll be able to dedicate our time and energy to a specific or multiple other subjects. But I know we're going into the equinox, and we were supposed to address this last month. Yes, there's been other things that happened. Again, I didn't want to have to talk about this, but you know, seeing what's going on the net and whatnot, it's like, nah, man. I definitely had to acknowledge, you know, the falsehood and the narratives that people are trying to spin, bro.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to my family, my mother, like, you know what I'm saying? And I said this as her son, like, especially when it comes to women, like, stop putting my mother in the choices that you made. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my mother never told nobody, oh, go over to his house and lay down with him. You know, that's your free choice. That's your free will. It ain't me. So leave my mom out of whatever choices you make. I understand that the sisters, the mothers, definitely should have like a sister circle or a mother circle and be able to get advice from the elders or whatnot. But respect their boundaries too. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my mother is not your child's grandmother in that sense. And, you know, I understand when it comes to law, everybody needs to know some part about it. But, you know, please don't be giving my mother a headache about how your children is getting took because of whatever happened with child services. And I'm not speaking for her. She can indulge with whatever. I'm just saying for me, you know what I'm saying? I don't really like the vibe. I'm like, come on. I am not, and intentionally have not brought you any baby mama drama or none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be damned if I gotta watch you stress about somebody else bringing you that. You know what I'm saying? That's just me as her son. I don't know if y'all feel the same way about your mothers. I mean, I don't know. But, you know, that's just how I feel about mine. Like, I love the work that she does, how many people she's helped. But at some point, it has to be some checks and boundaries, because when she's being brought into, you know, choices that people made because they met somebody at a class that she gave, and she ain't know nothing about the intimate personal choices outside of class, I'm like, nah, this got to be addressed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I have something to say about that. Like, I do. I don't want to have to say that, but, you know, I thought it would be obvious, you know, respectable things. Like, I don't want to get on YouTube arguing with some chick who is not my ex, and we ain't have no sour connect, none of that about my mom, bro. Like, this is crazy. This shit is out of order. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is out of order. So, you know what I'm saying? Because
you got
too many, and you feel like you on some equivalence with my mom. You're not. You're in your 30s. My mother is older, elder, as a matter of fact. So show some respect, not just for her, but for yourself. Because you make yourself look nasty talking about your sex experiences and
talking crazy.
Somebody violated you.
Talking crazy.
Saying somebody violated you. Who identify who that is, but still gonna blame my mother for that. Like, nah, this is not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, it's not.
Yeah.
People can disagree with the information and all of that. But look, I don't know what her life is like, you know what I'm saying? If she got issues with her mother or whatever it is.
Probably.
Sisters, I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it.
The blatant disrespect, like, because the thing is this. Not only that, what really got me is that she DM'd me and apologized to me, Hamatiel, and Anna E, and then turned around and said, I have no issue with you, Ms. Hamatiel and Anna E, but I have an issue with Cujo and Raj. Like, Raj is my mom. And I just want to make this very clear. That's what really got me. You know what I'm saying? That's what really got me. So I'm like, hold up. Let me just make this clear right now for the record for in perpetuity. Yes, there's some points of view I might think different than my mom. But listen, let me tell you, if you on the internet lying on my mom and slandering my mom, you don't rock with my mom, I don't rock with you. You can't be cool with me if you don't like my mother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's impossible. I can't accept your apology. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't. You can't apologize to me and say, but yeah, I got a problem with Raj. Like, Raj is not my mother. Like, I didn't come out of her womb. Are you out of your mind? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, people really are out of their mind. Yeah, like, I don't know. Literally. You know, even if it was a friend, you know what I'm saying? Like, even her saying I don't rock with Cujo, but you know, and Raj, but I rock with you. Man, it's like, no, you don't. Yeah. You definitely don't. You might think, I don't know where you got the notion that was okay, right? For you to say on YouTube and go on slander campaigns about my mother, but think that you could be cool with me. Like, I don't know what world y'all live in, you know what I'm saying? But that's not where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? Like, if you're lying on my mom and slandering her and jealous and hateful and at your core, you're full of bitterness and gall to my mom. Yeah, I can rock with you, and I won't rock with you. I actually never did. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, I still don't. You know what I mean? Like, that's where my position is at. But yeah, don't think you disrespecting my mom, but cool with me in public. No, nah, y'all smoking something else. Y'all are smoking something else.
On another note, I don't know if you got the question in the chat. It's on the screen right now.
Question. Since we are not / cannot be citizens of the U.S. Service Corps, Article 13, Section 11, why do we enforce a U.S. document if they don't honor themselves, asking for an interested party? All right, now, that's a good question, and I just want to say, for caller 443 in the chat, please keep your hand up. I got you. I'm going to take your question next. All right, so let me read this back. Since we are not / cannot be citizens of the U.S. Service Corps, Article 13, Section 11, why do we enforce a U.S. document that they don't honor themselves? And then he says, asking for an interested party. This is Tariq Bey. So first and foremost, I just want to say, what U.S. document are you talking about? Is it the Constitution? Because if you're talking about the Constitution, that is not a U.S. document. That's a document that was created in ancient divine law for them in the modern era to uphold for the people of ancient times to now. So, you know, when you say a U.S. document, what are you talking about? Are you talking about USC codes?
Yeah, he said Constitution. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's talking about Constitution.
Okay, so the Constitution is not a U.S. document. It's really the American Republic Constitution. And this is what I'm saying. You have to know there's a difference between America and the United States, because that came from ancient divine law. And think of it like this, too. For them to even be recognized, what did they have to do? They had to declare their independence. But what is that? The Declaration of Independence is divine law. Like, they're not talking about artificial law. They're talking about all men being created equal and free and endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. They're not talking about we from Europe with the power of the king and the queen. They're talking about autonomy, equality. They're talking about divine law. Why? Because that's what supersedes everything. And that is protected within that Constitution via the First Amendment. So these are principles that are internationally recognized. So when we say that the Constitution is a U.S. document, not really. You know what I'm saying? People will say that to throw you off your square. because this origin and this essence comes from nature's God and nature's law. That is a fact. And then it was set up for the conduct of these people in America. This is what keeps them in check. But we have certain unalienable rights that are protected and guaranteed within that document. So that's why, because that is the document that they take an oath to uphold, right? And you know what I'm saying? So when you see all men are created equal and free, not some men, not European men, not just Moorish men, not just, so-called white men, black men. It says all men are created equal and free. Well, that's inclusive. That's the foundation of the Constitution. They had to declare divine law was the order of the day. This is, again, another part of why it's a divine and national movement. So, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's really what it is. You have to understand, this is, before there was a United States Congress, there was a Continental Congress. And again, like I said earlier, the United States is not a continent. So what continent? And who were those people? What's the definition of American? Because America, that's a continent. That's one. You got North America, South America. So if there was a Continental Congress opposed to a colonial Congress, who was really responsible for these documents coming into effect? What we have to do, what we must do. I don't care what we've been taught and who's saying contrary. Like, there is a difference between the United States of America and America. You know what I mean? Like, America is not the same as the United States of America. It's not. That's not because I'm saying so. That's an actual geographical fact. The definition of American speaks for itself when we're talking about that and being people of the land. So again, you know what I mean? I can't speak for why people do what they do, but I know that there is documented evidence that these so-called judges, whether they're federal judges, whether they're state judges, whether they're municipal judges, it is a record of them taking an oath to this document that we know is the Constitution.
Islam.
So you could go to a court and ask for that record of their oath to the Constitution and obtain it. Therefore, it's not in the realm of myth. How do I know that? Because I've done it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to a courtroom and asked before they put it in statutory procedures. Like, different states now, they have a statute where, like, if you ask for a public record, you first got to request it on a form, and then if it's not given to you within 7 days, you could then take a action to small claims court and sue them in the superior court. Like, for Jersey, they call it the OPRA Act, OPRA, Open Public Records Act. Prior to that, though, you could just walk in there, ask for it, and the clerk could give it to you right over the counter. Now it's a process to get that. But nonetheless, there's penalties if they don't give it to you. So, you know what I'm saying, on a statutory level. But nonetheless, there is evidence of that. I never seen, evidence of a judge taking an oath to the USCs or to any of that. Like, they take an oath to the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence is a part of the Constitution, if you didn't know. So that's why, because it says all men, not some men, not judges, not policemen, like all men are created equal and free and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That's birthrights. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's the evidence when they start violating. Because, remind you, yes, the treaty is protected by the Constitution. Like, it's enforceable by the Constitution. But you're not going to go to the municipal court, the state court, or the federal court and say, hey, let me get Judge so-and-so's oath to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. They don't have that. But they do have an oath to the Constitution, which via that document, shows that they are obligated to the treaty. So it's evidence. Yeah, for sure. That's why you enforce that Constitution. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I trust and I hope I answered the brother's question. But if you don't believe me, you could check it out for yourself. You know, do it. Just you don't even have to have a court case. Just go to your local municipality, not your local municipality, but go to the municipality that operates in your jurisdiction and ask them for it and see what they tell you. You know what I'm saying? You could go to the city hall and ask in an intelligent tone, but also the clerk of court is supposed to be able to give that to you right over the counter. You know what I'm saying? With no process, but many states now have a process for it, statutory. So yeah, that's what's up. All right, so let me see. Okay, so the brother that says, well said, I was aware, just wanted some clarification for a first-time viewer. No misleading. Islam.
And right above that, there was another question about do we need to start electing Islamic judges in our land?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because from my perspective, and again, shout out caller 443. I'm about to take your call. How many are really competent in Islam? You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about Islamic judges, we've seen that happen even with the consulate, and there's really not too many competent people. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking any more. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, people try, and it's got to be something different. I mean, and I also want to say this. Are we looking outside of the blueprint that was already given to us by asking that question? Because Noble Drew Ali said grand sheets are put in place to make law. So who should we really be looking for? You know what I'm saying? But they out to lunch for real. Like, they're not even dealing with Noble Drew Ali left. Not and not you, Cujo. I'm not including you in that, but you know what I mean. Like, as far as generally across what people are calling Moorish Science Temples of America today, are they really dealing with that aspect? No. But they'll tell you that they know Noble Drew Ali's lessons. So I don't know. I feel like this, especially in these days and times, the lessons of Noble Drew Ali are right and exact. And I'm going to say this: if you are looking for a savior, look within. Your savior's name is self. If you are looking for a devil, look within. His name is self. So whatever you're looking for is in you already. So what you going to do? That's the real question. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? There's certain training people have to go through to not be biased. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real fact. That's a real fact. So let me say, I trust I answered the brother's question, and we're going to take caller 443 because he got his hand up, or she has had her hand up for a minute. So caller 443-376, you live on the air. Peace, man.
Peace. Thank you for taking my call. It's Brother Hassan RVBey. I want to say namaste in Islam. I just want to add to the wisdom pertaining to defamation. And just listening, it is complete, right, and exact, even down to the answer of the questions you just completely answered. I and a few brothers have been, studying real heavy to look at the joinder between the different levels of municipal rules, state-level constitutions, as well as the North American Republic Constitution as well. And we are seeing that, what you are actually saying, I'm just saying it's complete, right, and exact for those of us that are experiencing these things, even down to the point where when you ask for an oath of office, these people will give it to you upon a records request. So I will say that is completely right and exact. And I wanted to just add, if one was to confer with defamation, defamation. In the spirit, I'm going to read a certain document that I have here. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that people have to refer to this specifically. I just wanted to touch on the spirit of it. And that's 28 USC subsection 4101 in the definition for defamation. The term, quote unquote, defamation means any action or other proceeding for defamation, libel, slander, or similar claim alleging that forms of speech are false, have caused damage to reputation or emotional distress, have presented any person in a false light, or have resulted in criticism, dishonor, or condemnation of any person. Now, those would be a cause of action if one was to hold any so-called official or anything like that, because a lot of people, and again, I'm just going with the spirit, even though we know that what was brought in context for the presentation, you know, it was what it was.
Okay, so hold up. I gotta say this, right? Because you know, there's certain things I don't bother with, but for sure fact, Cujo is my co-host on this, and I gotta ask y'all right now before I allow you to continue to speak. Appreciated everything. And I don't want to go here, but you called in, and I gotta ask. I see y'all back and forth on the net. Whatever the source is, I gotta ask Cujo you right now. Can y'all squash it right now, or is it beyond repair? Like before you come on, adding on, I gotta ask that question because I don't feel like I'll be true to self if I did. And again, I've been in transition.
You asking that question. I didn't mean to cut you with.
Yeah, but I gotta ask that right now. If not, if Cujo feel any type of way, we gotta keep it moving, bro. Like, so I have to put that on the floor, bro. Cujo, you can start first, but if it's beyond repair, like we gotta keep it moving, Hassan. Like, you know what I'm saying? But all I could do right now is ask. I don't know what it is. I just see that it's something.
There's nothing on my end. I'm gonna keep it a whole band with you. I don't have any issue. Well, I was just bringing straight truth. I don't know what it is on Cujo's end.
Oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what it is, but it's irreparable. So honors for asking, Ms. Leave it at that.
Word, say that. So yeah, man, I trust maybe down the line time can heal all, but again, you know, Cujo.
Yeah, it wasn't on my end at all, for real.
I can't disrespect that. So I don't know, but the brother said it's
irreparable. It wasn't on my end at all. But if you want to hear what it is, I'll tell you what it is. I mean, I assisted a sister who was able to get her children back without having to go into any lawyer or anything.
Hold up, Hassan. I have to, out of respect for my brethren co-host, Cujo, do you want this to be talked about right now? Do y'all want to talk about this off air?
Yeah, I wasn't bringing none of that. I was just
Cujo, what you want to do
about what it is with Mother Rod.
Moving or hold up. See.
Yeah, keep it moving, because you know if it was.
But now I gotta stop. Hold on.
No problem.
Now I gotta stop. No. Listen, but I just heard you say something about Mother Rod. What was that?
That's all I was bringing, because you was bringing up defamation and libel. I had no intention on speaking on what you just brought up in any way, shape, or form. Because I'm from here to Baltimore Corporation. I don't be with that sucker stuff.
Right, got you. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna stop this conversation. Hopefully this can be talked about off air, or y'all later can hear it or whatever. But we gotta keep it moving, bro. Gotta keep it moving.
No problem. I respect that. You already know, man. You already know.
All right. Indeed. One. All right. So, yeah, that being the case, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. I mean, again, like I said, I've been transitioning. I don't know. I just seen it was something. And, you know, excuse me, I didn't want to, have you in the spot is some fuck shit. Excuse my expression, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's never the platform. You know, it's usually the callers. You know what I mean? It's never the platform, because it's real interesting that, you know, he's gonna call in tonight, but not send me any DMs or whatever unless it's to talk crazy. So, you know, it is what it is. People are gonna do what they do.
Fact. Well, with that being said, we don't have any callers with their hands up left. Again, maybe in time. Again, I don't know the origin of the issue. At this time, we could talk about it offline or whatever, and maybe bring me to more understanding. But definitely the acknowledgement for the great works that you've been doing and that, you know, people are endeavoring to do. I don't recall if I was actually there at the ceremony, but I do remember a while ago you assisted with the brother's obligation to his woman at that time. So yeah. I don't know where it went left or whatnot, but yeah, we just gonna leave that there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we just leave that there.
That being said, you want to say anything in closing, bro? Time flies so fast. We got 20 minutes.
20 minutes. You already know how it goes. They always speed up the time when our stuff comes up.
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? The ethers be vibrating faster. You know what I'm saying? I say the ether slowed down and was vibrating slower still. It's like when we do these, man, it just flies, bro. But yeah. So, excuse me. When we do these presentations, we try to keep it strictly educational and drama-free, but sometimes we gotta acknowledge the BS that's going on, the slander that's going on, people trying to get a rep up. You know what I'm saying? Associate to disrespect to get a rep, and you know it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I seen that happen last month. You've been acknowledging it, and I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, some people that come into this movement are literally out of their mind. Like, just basic principles. Like, don't think you're going to slap my brother or take a shot at my mother, but then be cool with me. Like, whatever your feelings are, don't tell me that. You know, you don't have nothing against me, but you got something against my mom, and then think we're supposed to be cool. Like, that's my mom, man. Like, you're not going to disrespect my mom and then think you're going to be cool with me. It's not going to work like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, you could disagree on any point. You know what I'm saying? But when you disrespect, nah, son. Nah.
You know what makes it... What makes it crazier? What makes it crazier is that all this peace and love or whatever, but he didn't say anything in the chat. So he's obviously just back there, you know, doing whatever. Didn't say anything in the chat, but could call in and want to give some opinion of whatever, or some fact or some truth or whatever it is that he was gonna present. It's just crazy how, same thing that we're talking about earlier. You know, people got their issues. They don't want to deal with their issues. They want to, you know, beat around and play like everything's good when they know stuff's not good. They know stuff's not good, but they know that, you know, they're gonna be able to deal with Miz, not Kudro. You know what I mean? And it's absolutely disrespectful. You know, it's absolutely disrespectful to deal with it in those manners. You know, all because just so since we have 20 minutes, all because there was a mother who got her children taken by child services, whoever. So among other things that she called me about, she also called about her issue. And I told her, well, you probably want to get a lawyer because you don't sound like you know what you're doing with regard to the Moorish stuff. Like you sound like you're all over the place. So you probably want to go get a lawyer, let them deal with it. Because I'm not going to be on the phone with you. I'm not going to be, helping you write writs and all that stuff. I got stuff to do. So she went to Hassan and his astrology, whoever people, and they assisted her. However they assisted her. So she got her children back. Now, when I spoke with the mother, this is just earlier today, she was saying, well, I don't know what the problem is because I don't have any issue with you. I'm not mad that you told me get a lawyer. I'm not upset that you told me get a lawyer. Matter of fact, I think it actually helped me, focus on what I should be focusing on because, I was all over the place or whatever. So he's going on this thing like, because I told this one individual get a lawyer in what is this, 2008 to now? This is the first time ever told somebody get a lawyer. And he's making it like I raped somebody or something, or I'm the one that kidnapped her children or something like that. And of course, these people, like we were saying, they always got something to say, but they have nothing to say to the colonists who's doing all the criminal activity. And then you're gonna get on here and want to give some facts or give some code of something as if there isn't something going on, just calling in cool and collective as if shit is cool or something. Crazy. Real crazy where people's minds are at, Real crazy.
So basically, the sister had some legal troubles with her children, and you assess your life like, I really can't take the time to like fight for your children and you right now, so it probably would be best to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because if she calling you asking questions, and this is no slight on the sister's intelligence, intellect, wisdom or not, but she needed some guidance at the moment that you just couldn't give her because you got stuff going on yourself. Is that about right?
Yeah. I just wasn't gonna put my time there. Because it's not my children, you know what I mean? And I just don't got time to be reading your writs and editing stuff and all that. So, maybe go get a lawyer or talk to some other Moors or something, which she went and she talked to some other Moors, which is Hassan. And they assisted her. And she got her children back. So I don't know what the issue is. Like what's the problem? Because I said get a lawyer, that means I'm criminal or something? Get the hell out of here.
Nah, so it still ended up being a win-win for the mother at the end of the day.
Yeah.
She got her children back, assisted by more, no attorney, no lawyer, but you was just letting her know, like, listen, these are not my children. I can't invest my energy into that at this time because you got other stuff going on. I don't see no harm, no foul. Bro.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't nothing.
What ended up happening, if you couldn't wholeheartedly dedicate yourself, your time, and your energy to that situation, okay, granted, there was another Moor or Moors plural who could and got her the result, right? So, whatever.
No, the other...
Personally, you couldn't, and it does not.
Yeah, and the other side of it... Yeah, the other side of it is that, in speaking with her, she also said that, they made certain requests of her as far as the colonists. They made certain requests of her that she adhered to because, her status isn't fully corrected and all that stuff. So it's not like it was just the Moors who got her out of the stuff. right? It's not like these writs is really what did it. You know what I mean? She, you know, the colonists probably told her sign a paper, and you know, because she signed it, they gave him back or whatever. I don't know the full details, but it wasn't like, you know, they sent the writs in and then the writs got the children back. It ain't. That's not how it went like that. But they're gonna present it like that because, you know, everybody's on the come up. Everybody wants to look like they know what they're doing and all that stuff. So, you know, they're gonna tell the part of the story that makes them look good.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, they're not gonna tell the whole stuff. You know, just like you know, like you're talking about the obligation ceremony. You know, he wanted me to do his obligation ceremony again, and then because of him talking crazy, you know, I refused to do the obligation ceremony again. You know, the second time, like I'm not doing it because you're talking crazy. Why would I do an obligation ceremony for you if you're talking crazy? You know, so he could be mad about that too. But you know, it is what it is. Whatever it is. I mean, I could care less at this point. It ain't, you know, no different than the stuff with Reese. You know, we could be talking about some other stuff. He'll be talking about this dumb stuff for. But it was just crazy that he actually. It was just crazy that he actually pushed one, as if, you know, there's no issues or something. You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I mean, because of that, you know, I mean, sometimes it's necessary. I hate to see Moors fall out and all of that. I just, you know, it is what it is, man. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like what I was saying earlier in one degree. Like I was saying, you know, I'm like, yo, I'm not bringing my mother baby mama drama. You know what I'm saying? Why would other people do that? And I'm not saying, again, our sisters don't deserve or need support. I'm just saying, like, I'm not bringing that to this specific, you know, person's doorstep. Like, this is my mother. I'm keeping her stress-free of that bullshit, right? So then how can somebody else turn around and bring that to her? Like, and I ain't got nothing to do with that. How you, like Big Sean said, you got baby mama drama, you ain't even got you no babies. Like, what's going on out here? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, and that's no disrespect to the sisters because we understand that there is a systemic operation going on and they need help. You know what I'm saying? We all need some sort of help in some way or another, right? Like, but I mean, I think it was real of you to say, look, I really don't have the time or the energy or the obligation to deal with this. Like, yeah, you assist your sister in adversity, your brother in adversity, etc. But at the same time, you can't invest wholeheartedly. So it's better to not do it at all than do it half-heartedly.
Yeah, but that's how that. No, but that's how it's. You know, the presentation of it is like I'm hiding because I told her get a lawyer or something. Like I'm embarrassed or something because I told her get a lawyer. I know I told her get a lawyer. There ain't no secret that I told her get a lawyer. You know what I mean? It ain't something like I told her.
The way they talking about.
Yeah, you know, that's how they're talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to just say this too. The way that the naysayers talk about Moors being suturers, being impropria persona suturers, if something don't go right, then all the blame is on you, Moors, RVBey publications, every Moor who stands for that, right? This is how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, the blame would then be on you if you did it half-heartedly, right? Because, you know what I'm saying? So it's saying it to me. I don't know.
But that mother is like that at all. You know what I mean? She's gonna blame me or whatever. She fully took. Yeah, she fully took. You know, took responsibility for her her negligence of the law and not knowing certain things and, you know, wanting to learn and all that stuff. But I just wasn't putting my energy in that. You know, I've dealt with enough child services stuff to I'm not even going there. You know what I mean? Whatever initially went down, you know, you probably got to check yourself, because these people aren't just kicking people's doors in for no reason. You probably did something that you shouldn't have been doing. You know what I mean? You probably were negligent with your own children. Why the stuff happened in the first place? You know what I mean? They're not just coming in there just because. Something had to happen for them to be coming in there. They're not just coming in there just because ain't nothing going on. So whatever it was that was going on, which, you know, I don't know full details of what was going on, but I wasn't going in it like that. Those are issues that I sort of don't get myself involved with anymore, because of the same thing that you're talking about. After the fact, then people want to, you know, have a reason why this and that. You know, and I just wasn't going there. So, you know what I mean? And she didn't have any issue with it. It's not like, you know what I mean, when I told her that, she was cussing me out, why are you telling me get a lawyer and all that stuff. It wasn't even nothing like that. But that's how they're acting. You know, like, because I told her get a lawyer, now I'm some type of criminal or something.
Word. Alright, so I mean, you know, that being what it is, I trust that, you know, maybe this would be a moment in time that, whether it be a year, 6 months, however long from now, that it could be looked at as an example for growth and wisdom, and, you know what I mean, the fact that either way you look at it, it kind of came out as a win-win for the sister, for the mother, which is probably the most important part.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, you know, it is what it is, but, you know, at the end of the day, there is a Moorish child that's reunited with their Moorish mother. I don't know where their father is. I'm not trying to get into that aspect, but at least that's somewhat holistic as far as where the child belongs. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. Any way that it took to get to that means it's all good.
Exactly.
I don't know everything, so I'm gonna just look at the outcome and see, like, all right, well, the Moorish mother reunited with her child. You gave the sister the best advice you could at the time, in these days and times, because I look at it like Moors take so much flack for trying, and if it don't work out because of whatever reason, you said, you know, and again, this is just an example. I don't know all the details, but if the sister's status wasn't corrected now, you got to go back. You said when you came into it at 08, so we talking, what, you got to go back 14 years to get her to square one, and you're like on square whatever. Many years in the future, you know what I'm saying? And I just understand that sometimes it's hard to just like have to bring it all back, you know what I mean, and dedicate 6 months to a year of your life, you know what I mean? I think we gotta revisit this in the future. We gotta talk about this aspect of trying to help, you know what I'm saying? Like that aspect when the Savior is within. So that's another lesson too. But I'm gonna leave that there. And Moors, y'all keep doing great deeds. Y'all keep doing great works. We all gonna keep doing great things and support greatness. We're gonna walk in our greatness, in our upliftment, in our higher self, and balance, you know, the lower self, etc. And you know, do what we're here to do. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So I'm not mad. You know, I just hope that or trust that maybe at some point in time you can heal it. If not, if it's irreparable, just keep it moving, you know. Like that's it. And just know that even when we separate in the world, we're remember the bonds that tie us to love and unity, and just leave it there. So with that being said, I want to say, hey, thanks for everybody tuned in, listening, who supported tonight. Cujo, big thanks to you as well for doing what you've done and acting and leaving so many references out there for people to figure it out themselves if they want. And, you know, everybody that's doing the work and doing the assistance and uplifting for all of humanity. With that being said, we're going to spin out. We'll be back next month. And I do want to say, I wish everybody a very, very abundant, peaceful autumn equinox. We're 1 week away from that. So, y'all know, as everybody is shifting gears for another season, you know what I mean? May this be your best season for sure. All right? So, peace, y'all.
Peace. That's love.
Arabic speakers, they know what I said. They won't call me king, won't call me sire, won't call me friar, won't call me liar, won't call me lawyer or esquire. Kings come from kingdoms, not empires. Woo! That African king shit, yo. Talk that African king shit, yo. Talk that African king shit. Respect the queen and the royal bloodshed, yo. That African king shit, yo. Talk that African king shit, yo. Talk that African king shit. Respect the queen and the royal bloodshed. To the ancient moon, Iraqi, I'm Iraq. We don't stop without a movie, no props. Eddie Murphy, I joke that. All Mackenzie, when you see the boat, coming to what I've been here, land of the West. 5 points started, coming to best. Emperor with a family crest, stay less. Fighting the contract, outlaw, but you in combat. So far gone. I'm a war on my line. If I was black, man, it probably be gone. Singing that same old song. Had a hold on, home of the strong. War with wisdom, king to our kingdom. Original syndrome, had a lost stress. I make some east to the west, east to the west.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.